Gen Z podcast.
Welcome to the Gen Z podcast, formerly known actually as the Gen Z podcast. This is now the Love Cosmos show, also known as Rizaan's intervention. So we are back on the round table now and we are chatting to Rizzan. Rizzan, tell us, how are you feeling, my friend? It's a safe space. We are in Love Cosmos. It's safe. Breathe, yes, good. Starting off
Don't
the
let the
deep
baby
inhale.
outside disturb.
No, vagrants. You don't go on.
Vagrants.
Crystal Express.
Listen, I actually don't like when people ask me how I'm doing. I don't know, it's like I was one of my managers, one of my junior managers. Whenever we have a meeting, it's like, so how are you doing? And I'm like, you Clement always.
I, however, didn't say how are you doing because I know what you're doing. How are you feeling?
That's worse.
How are you feeling?
That's worse.
How you
does it feel?
feel, man? Feel it all.
Like one more thing. So with my therapist also, I also told my therapist, like, I don't know.
You have a lot of conversations in the week, eh? It's managers,
people
it's
that
therapists.
It's real people that
Oh,
it's not
fair.
like,
Yeah, that's a win.
Like a
That's a win.
talk therapist.
yeah. So she does this thing now where she doesn't say like how you doing. She says, "Tell me something."
Oh.
So Mishkah and JP, tell me something.
Oh.
I flipped it.
So I think if I have to tell you something, my tummy is actually quite full now.
Okay.
And I feel full of sustenance. I'm just trying to,
Don't you
miss
your baby?
I do. But I always do. But it's like a state of mind. It's not a feeling.
You have a baby? How old is your...
What? A feeling? The state of mind.
We got him on the wrong foot. Sorry. Yes. Welcome to the Gen Z podcast. We are at Love Cosmos with the wonderful Mishkah Gool, my arch nemesis at this point in time. We're gonna get into the story that is Mishkah, but first, a state of mind.
Yeah.
Is this like you being a daddy? A dad you like
It's
this?
very new though. So
Okay.
How old is your baby?
4 months.
Daddy is a state of mind.
Daddy.
He's uncomfortable. He didn't want to dab that up.
So yeah, like it's like when you for a certain amount of time, you do miss him. So yeah.
Well, if you look at a child's, development, it's very short. It's quick. So you're missing big moments just by being here.
Let's not focus on that.
Yo.
Let's rather focus on you.
Just respectfully.
I know, wow. Like it's renaming the podcast.
Never.
Like I might as well, take my bags.
And go spend time with your kid.
Fair. So true.
Speaking of-
this might be my official, my notice. My 30-day notice. But before I officially resign, Mishkah, our audience would like to know, who is Mishkah?
Oh gosh, what a question, eh? There's so many versions of me. So
Which one is the one you're allowed to share?
I was going to say, we have time.
well, it's not that it's an inversion. There's so many hats that I feel like I wear, right? So, and I guess in that is the whole embodiment of whoever I identify myself as. What a big question.
So when did you grow up?
Okay, there we go. Okay,
You
because
also
it's
you
so
have
defined.
two sister siblings?
I have three sisters.
Three
yeah.
sisters. So when did you grow up?
So I grew up in Cape Town, in Newfields. It was
It's
You know?
not the real place.
Where's Newfield?
Newfields. If it's in Athlone,
Thank
it's
you.
a suburb in
Good enough.
Athlone.
Good enough for me.
It's down the road, kind of from Maneuver Park. You know where it is. That's the position.
I'm
Yeah.
fine now.
Yeah, okay.
GPS lock.
GPS
Yeah,
lock, yeah, there we go. I grew up there. I grew up in Cape Town. I've lived here all my life. These are not quite defined questions, like, because for me personally, I don't define myself from where I'm like grew up or, what I even do. It's more like, who you are and what, how you make people feel. And I asked you. And and also, what, if we had to be like a ripple, how does that ripple look? Reverbing into our sphere and into our space and what we create, what we speak about.
Wait, listen. Oh, you shy now all of a sudden.
No, I'm not.
Like,
I'm not.
Because now it sounds almost like you don't want to talk about it.
Come and tell you why. Because let's say I'm like, okay, I am a woman, then that's the thing. Like, oh, I am a
it's just us. It's just us. It's JP and Rizaan.
I know it's you guys.
2 best friends in a room.
Hey guys. So, okay, I am currently a creative entrepreneur.
Yes.
I am very passionate about the human body, which includes the mind, how things operate. I am fascinated about spirituality. I'm very spiritually grounded myself. I connect a lot to the Creator, and through using that force, I believe in it kind of powers a lot of my ethos, my intentions on everything, basically. I find it rooted in that. What else? I believe in empowering others and each other. I believe that we are meant to have a purpose in this world, and that nothing is created for nothing. Kun fayakun.
So that's amazing.
How? Okay,
you landed the plane. you started over like what's going on here? And then there was a beginning, and you got there.
Always late, never late, always on time. But if people know me,
never late, always on time.
She's just dropping like quotables. Confucius says.
Always late and always on time. You know what I mean?
So for those of you that don't know, Mishkah was late today.
But on time.
She was on her time.
Yeah,
she was on her time.
Yeah. It was also funny because she was like, I'm 5 minutes away, and it was like 20 minutes. I'm like, what? What Indian person 5 minutes is she on, bro?
Cape Town time, though.
CP, you say.
Super Cape Town time.
I think, I don't actually know why we always sort of delve into what was your sort of upbringing and schooling like. But it's always a funny or a fun exploration, because when you sort of revisit that side of yourself, you almost like you get to awaken like, oh wow, I was like that. So that's what we like to ask. So like, what was it like growing up in Newfield? Like, are all your siblings from the
From the hood?
From the same lineage.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate you, gang. Appreciate you. Because we 4 brothers, but I also have a sister.
Okay, we are 4 girls, all from the same mom, same dad.
Hey.
That's my nuclear family. We're just a bunch of girls, and my dad then was the only boy and had 6 sisters. So we just got the only one recipe. If anyone has a recipe for our family.
Naai klas.
Yeah, it's like girls strong women as well.
Where are you in the totem pole?
Number 2.
Hey.
And we're all 4 years apart, except the 2 younger ones. They grew up like twins, same outfit vibe.
Do they also, I know this is speed running, but does your family sort of trend to that whole, like the oldest is like the deputy parent and you give off middle child energy? Is that like a thing?
It is a thing, except I have everyone has different personalities, and my older sister happens to have a more quiet, reserved, conservative energy, where I'm like the opposite, like roffed onbeskof. In some way, I've always been very explorative and asking questions and wanting to chat with the adults and learn things and kind of that kind of vibe. So I in some way was the pioneer in my family in terms of starting to who stole the coffers, who started driving first, who did that kind of thing. I was like kind of pioneering the big sister roles, that kind of thing. Definitely middle child syndrome though. Definitely middle child, like strong middle child.
Because it's important.
I'm
Remember
important
that
too.
Yo, unlocked memory. Because that's a Yo, that poem had me. Is it a poem or a short story?
It's a poem.
What is this now?
So we.
I'm taking Rizaan back to his schooling days.
Yeah, nah, that actually threw me back.
Were you guys at school together?
No.
No,
Okay.
no, I don't think I would have gone through high school if he was there.
Please elaborate. No. The audio listeners are listening.
No, because to be fair, Rizaan would have distracted me from my mission of becoming the best version of myself. And I think the fact that I was able to meet him later in life actually helped me.
You had already established your boundaries.
And I invited him in. I was very impressionable, because
You snack. He had a main meal already. I love how you're like, sturdy.
What are we doing?
But Mishka, how does someone travel from Abbots to Westerford and study pharmacy and now be deeply involved in good food? So explain how you juggled that or navigated through that.
It's been quite an interesting thing to navigate, I guess, especially in those moments. My background, my parents enforced something. They really worked on giving us the best education that we could. We went to really good schools, and they worked hard to get us there. And it was kind of quite unorthodox for me to shift out of a path that was very secure, and it would always give me a lot of security. But for me, it's the word now. I have it now, and I couldn't understand what that word was back then. But it's like integrity and authenticity was something that is really strong in for me in my line. And so I got to the whole thing. I was already working in practice, actually for some big name in the pharmaceutical industry, and I just started seeing certain patterns within the patients, and I'd gone on a huge traveling thing. I feel like that was when I had already stepped into my own spiritual awakening of sorts. Certain illusions were being broken of certain systems that I previously was told that is there to support and there to, safeguard, was just not. And I guess, and that was actually me growing up since I was a kid. I was always, and I always see, for example, I found my old report cards, and I was from when I was in grade 1 and stuff, and I saw the comments, and I was always good at numeracy and people interaction. I was always Mishka's too bubbly and too distractful in class. So you and I, we would have been the best of friends, and we would have probably lived in detention together, which I lived in detention all the time. And it was the same thing like that. But
low-key the bad influence of this episode.
But me too, because it's someone who, if I see something that isn't harmonious in terms of its systematic thing, that's why I love the human body, because it's all in harmony. If when it's working in the components, nothing shifts and clashes into anything. It's so beyond intelligent. And I feel like I've developed a good eye for that. And already at that time, I started seeing that. Then to take up the tool, and I studied, I got very lucky, because at that time, you're student vibes, late night, not sleeping. Maybe at 4 a.m. I found these one-day only deals of neurolinguistic, an intro into hypnosis course. And it was already something that I had somehow met people, and they told me, oh my word, you're really good at NLP. And I'm like, what the hell is that, and you're good with your language. And this is from another person who was a hypnotherapist already. And then I was online, and this thing came to me, just the synchronistic moments of what? I got this package. They released just 10 packages to lower income countries. And it was a European institution where it's just a high level online course. And we hadn't developed, I felt online on that level. And they kind of had, these Zoom classes. And that was the first time I even knew about online classes and things and courses. And I did it, and I got it for a really good price. So I felt really lucky. And that then shifted everything in some way, because I couldn't unsee what I was now. It's like putting on a different specs. And you kind of seeing oh shit, now it just so happened that what I was seeing was definitely not in alignment to where I was going in terms of finding my inner purpose with, why have I been created, and what can I offer into the world. And And then the food thing happened because I started dating a guy who he was into organic farming at that time, and a person of color. It was also cool for me to like see, oh shit, like this is when I got introduced into like Philippi horticulture area and knowing about the food aspect. And I got really passionate in like the activism, eco-activism, and stepping on with Uncle Nazid, where they do the PHA food farming campaign.
What does PHA stand for? Sorry.
The Philippi horticulture area.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it is
Thank you.
basically, we were needing to create an awareness that this aquifer, this worldly unique Cape Flats aquifer, was under threat. And it was so shocking for me because I come from like, I went to a school in the southern suburbs. Like I said, my parents, they worked hard to put me in, like I went to Westerford. I went to, Westerford wasn't working for me again, the rule system. And I was smart though. So they put me in Abbots and I could take more subjects on and really kind of fit what I want. I wanted to be a super creative, and I was really a science geek. I love science and stuff. And that could kind of home that, like, just nurture that. Anyways, so
yeah.
sorry, this is a
I'm
local
just-
go
I'm
along.
just-
No. So, okay. So 3 things happened.
Yeah.
Number 1, I felt like as a viewer of the show, because I'm also a fan of the podcast. Even though I'm part of the podcast, I'm a big fan of your work, JP. I like what you do. Like just listening to what you had to say. What's going on? You need to learn to accept
Yes.
compliments.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay.
Rizaan.
Okay.
I appreciate the words that you told me.
Thank you. Okay, cool. So, yeah. So, on what you were saying right now, it was fascinating to just follow, because you didn't just answer JP's question. JP asked a very clunky question. Like, it was so, and you gave it 10 marks per point.
Okay.
And so, like, I want us to just, like, sit with some of the things that you mentioned in a way that, so first of all, you were able to, or privileged enough to explore yourself in such a wide variety of ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's very beautiful, right? And because a lot of us, we don't get the opportunity to do that. We don't get the opportunity to do, first of all, access to do it, but then also, once we get access to a certain thing, we don't have the opportunity to sort of change from there, pivot from there. And I think that's quite amazing that we can hear people that look like us, that has had that experience, that you can also then walk those different paths. That's the one thing I wanted to sort of touch on.
It's interesting though that you mentioned the privilege, but we all have that privilege.
Okay.
The chance to be ourselves and to show up in whoever we are. That doesn't take any kind of accessibility, non-accessibility. Obviously, the spaces sometimes don't allow, it doesn't make it feel like we're allowed to be like that. You asked me a question of like, how was growing up and how was I in school? I really felt like an outcast, like my whole life, Even though I could fit in with so many different crowds, even racially, I seem a bit ambiguous to some people. Culturally, it's a bit ambiguous to some people. I'd get asked like, what are you? So I felt like sometimes I wasn't colored enough for the coloreds. I wasn't white enough for the white friends. I wasn't like Indian enough for the Indians. So there was like a little thing. And because I guess I get to be okay with that. Even me and my family, I felt a little outcast because, I'm very free-spirited and, even as a Muslim, growing up as a Muslim and certain things, asking questions maybe wasn't, now it's somewhat more open and we speak about things more, but
So sorry, that's kind of where I disagree with you, but I don't really want to disagree with you, because you kind of mentioned some of those blocks or those things that's doesn't enable, like stops people from being themselves. And so I want to just ask the question just like lightly. Do you know who you are? Just like a yes or no.
I feel now at this age I do.
And so a lot of us, we find ourselves, we're defined by what we're able to do, or we're defined by our circumstances, right? And what I'm trying to say is that you were able to discover who you are. And I think that's amazing.
But so what I'm saying is because
Sorry, Mishkah, not to interrupt
Yeah.
you. Rizaan landed the plane there.
he articulated it very well.
Articulated it very
You did.
well.
Well done.
And he didn't get to a moment where he actually followed through.
So do you understand what I'm saying in that, like, it is actually a privilege to get to know who you are.
Of course, I mean, I'm not unfamiliar with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if we're going to go there, of like, certain transcendence, self-awareness and belonging. And I get that. I'm familiar with that. It's not, that isn't where I feel that it's not aligned to what you're saying. Because of course, if you are just focusing on surviving and making ends meet, you're always on your back foot. It's very difficult to move forward I've been there, like if you in a state of lack mentality because you can't pay for the rent now, and it's hard to spend the time and figure out who you are and what you like and what you don't like.
So
right?
So the point I'm trying to make, or the point that I made, is not just about like the financial privilege. It's also like the religious privilege, because some people are constricted by or not like, and again, it's not like their fault. It's what you hear in mosque. It's what you hear in church. And it sort of stops you from being yourself. It's what you hear in school. It's what you hear. And that's what I'm saying. So that's the, like, because you said a lot. And my answer is coming from the lot that I heard.
So if the access to information is out there in our 2023 right now.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you can even, in the rubble in Palestine, there's someone with a phone. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Right? So there's access right now to it. So even now, in this day and age, with that amount of information, I don't call it a privilege, I call it ignorance now, to ignore information that is out there, of ways where people can find ways to support themselves in some way. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's something that's without a challenge. But it is facing and choosing to do that for yourself, choosing to better for yourself. It's the same as like you can't help someone that's not signing in for
but
work,
I think that's where the piece that's missing. It's that sparking of whether or not I should be looking at this. Because a lot of the times what Rizaan's alluding to is we're so used to seeing what we're seeing. We're so used to being comfortable that if this is what we know to be success, this is what we deem to be successful. So I think what he's alluding to is that the fact that when, like you said, you made the decision to know more. And I think more people like you, and I think you are a great example of this, is that getting to know more helped you, like now where you are.
I'm
now
trying to celebrate you. I'm trying to celebrate you.
To know who
that's
you
what
are.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Because I think what Rizzan is trying to point out is that what you're saying is so good.
Yeah.
People mustn't lose it.
Please.
They mustn't get lost. They mustn't get lost in
like the fact that myself and JP are in your presence right now is also a privilege, because we speak to so many different guests and no one is you. And even just like some of the things that you said, a lot of what you said, I'm gonna sit with and I'm gonna try and sort of perpetuate to the people that I'm exposed to, because it's golden. And that's kind of like, I'm really trying to celebrate you. If I'm using like how can I say, like an ugly word or like a heavy, like I'm very sorry. I'm not trying to. I'm actually. I'm genuinely trying to celebrate you. So we are in, sort of change the conversation a little bit. We are in Woodstock, right? And how long have you been here in this particular space?
This specific space, a year, just over a year, just over a year.
Okay, because yo, that's wild. Like, okay, cool. Because I wanted to sort of get into, because you have a lot of pictures of, let's say, old Cape Town, if you will, and old South Africa, and there's a lot of history here. And you are someone that has traveled, and we sort of want to have fun with the concept of the things that you learn via travel, and then also want to speak about what is the history of Woodstock? What is your experience with the history of Woodstock? So first, JP.
So you mentioned you traveled earlier, and one of the places that we found that you traveled was California.
Yeah.
Right? So we kind of want to bring Hollywood to Woodstock,
Beverly Hills to Lavender Hills.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Malibu?
To Malibu.
Yikes. Yikes, big yikes.
So if we had to place like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, right? Where would that be in Woodstock for you, do you think?
Like
Would it be Victoria Road, or would it be
like, you know that with the stars
the
on
stars
the road?
are?
Like, yeah.
Where would you put it?
I would definitely.
Like, is there a part of Woodstock that is very uppity, very, you know, because there's a lot of like events that happens in the space. A lot of clubs, a lot of this, a lot of that.
I'd say the
Gentrification.
most would be probably around Woodstock Quarter.
Woodstock
Quarter.
Quarter.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of uppity, like you're scared of Albert Road, or scared of certain avenues. That, like, yeah, definitely, the uppity part of it. What was the other question about Woodstock?
No,
Just that, yeah.
we were just thinking about things that are in California that we could bring down here.
Okay. Wow, there is so much, actually.
Say more!
Say more,
Say more, please.
Look, it's like parts in California, like, okay, for example, San Francisco, going into city center, definitely like parts look like Cape Town, but specifically Woodstock, it kind of, there are areas where it kind of reminds me when I was in like Santa Cruz, where it's very like young, vibrant, it's based, there's like no culture, it's subculture. It's all subculture, like you get like bass music culture, you know, Grateful Dead culture, you know, you like, you have like these like set kind of hip hop, but specifically kind of culture, like, you know, it's just interesting. And I know like even some of the events that have landed up here, I'm like, wow, this is like a full-on dress-up party. Like everyone is like
Committed
to their own theme. Like everyone has an alter ego, and they've like really shown up in it. You know, it's quite interesting. Some parts of Woodstock, and then also there's like the mixture where it's also juxtaposed, like California, of like hillbilly through like hillbilly California, like you get that like kind of, it's really, I was in Cannabis County in California, which is like, it's California, you know, and that's like some of like the really local flavor here. Mixed in with like these, you know, sophisticated kind of other vibes, and then art. That is the thing that is, I think, the most overlap.
But I think that's actually great, considering the art that you have on these walls about old Woodstock and how it's presented through black and white pictures. So what would old Woodstock be to you?
It's been quite interesting because this year's been definitely an unfolding of history, and then people would come in, and then we do events, and I learn a lot more. And like Bushman Pete, he was part of a event that we did here, and that was profound to gather more information on the history of. So here, even this building, this 196 building, it used to be called the Altona Hotel. The deeds on that picture were signed in 1608, sorry. And in the 1600s, the Portuguese versus the Bush people they were at war. The Salt River War was taking place. And if you start looking at what was happening, so this building here where we are on Victoria Road, sorry. Albert Road was the harbor. It's that picture over there. You can see where the mountain positioning is. And what was landing at that harbor was slaves and spices, and trade was now happening. So it's so likely that, I mean, maybe one of my great-grandparents were arriving here, being exiled from like Pakistan, Afghanistan, you know, the different traders from Malaysia, different slaves, different cultures were now entering into this. Woodstock has always been, and always, I guess, will remain, completely multi-racial, multi-diverse, and I guess the circumstances changed how they got here.
Yeah.
But trade it's always been a space for trade. It's always been a house for all of the spectrum of beings. And that's what I think is the most continuous thing of Woodstock and what makes it really, really special and unique.
Definitely unique.
I want to take things so many places. Like, just, I just want to, I want to take things so many places. I, want to just celebrate how hearing you speak about some of the people that have come into these doors and have shared their stories, their experiences, has sort of added to the person that you are, don't you think?
Definitely.
And so we spoke earlier, not in the episode, but just earlier in the day, and you said that you are like a life coach and a psychometrics? Psychotherapist. So can you just sort of speak on how you got into that, and then what type of work, clients, programs do you do with that or offer with that? Yeah.
It started, I guess the fascination began as a pharmacy student. There were certain courses, and like in pharmacology, we really tap into the psychosis sphere of things, and how the brain chemistry works, how it interacts with the gut, and where your neurotransmitters, these are big words now, but these are your hormones,
So I'm with you.
Oh yeah, medical bioscience. I'm so proud of this. Is so lekker. So like, just those kind of things. It really is the control points of our whole experience in this body, in this world. Right? And those can also be influenced.
Okay.
So that kind of thing was really shocking. It was a huge thing that back then, like, wow, you can have like to the point degree, milligram, that can influence such big reactions.
Okay.
Already it kind of sparked something then. There were lots of leadership courses that we do, and I just felt it was I had a knack for it.
Okay.
And also it's for me personally, I'm not someone who's good under other people's rules, because if I see that there's a better way of doing it, or if I don't agree with it, it can create a clash, because that integrity for me is like very, very strong. And but anyway, so I'm trying to keep it back to your question, because I know I can go on a tangent here. So
I'm here for the tangent. So the question is basically, or the latter part of the question is, now you like to life coach and you like.
So yes, so then I started studying the neuro-linguistic programming.
Yes. I
shifted out of pharmacy, and then because like you seeing a therapist back then, I started seeing a life coach. And wow, she was amazing. She's very dear to my heart. She's late now. She passed away, and she really even as a Muslim, she kind of put me onto an understanding of the Sirat al-Mustaqim, on your aligned path, and what is in your most aligned to your soul. And that resonated me so great. And I guess she just gave me a lot of the language that was something I could only feel, but I couldn't put it into words. And that was in the start of this, right? And already when I was a student, I had my own things that had transpired in my life, where I started seeing things that were beyond what science and biology could show, but it was on the emotion body and how things interact with. So basically the psychosomatic understanding started, gathering. Then I quit, and I did quit the pharmacy. I did a yoga teacher training. So that kind of gave me a good basis of understanding the body systems and your meridians and your chi and your energy flow, right? Then I already had the biology from pharmacy, and my dad and my family were very medically inclined. And then when it came to the mind, it was the NLP, and it really got me to understand how does the subconscious work? How are we able to be conditioned? How do we recondition, the reprogramming of it? And then it became like I would do different courses. I did a course on like during lockdown, like the art of addiction, and understanding how Freud's law was utilized from propaganda into public relations, and how do words and linguistics make a thing. And then, as the years go by, I do different courses over the time. Soon it became a bed for psychosomatics, which is what I mentioned. What is the interaction between between the body and the mind, right? The psyche and how it interacts with the body. And then also cognitive behavioral therapy, how does the thoughts interact with how we now generate energy inside? It's almost quantum in some way because it's all based on energy. And it's based on frequency. Certain thoughts create certain vibrations, which create certain issues inside. And it's, dealing with that behavioral patterns and things like that. And I just kind of like developed this. And now
Just this hunger for learning.
I love it. And if it fascinates me, it makes me want to expand and it helps me problem solve. I think I have a very active mind and it helps to, I like the complexities, and then I can challenge myself with really understanding something. And then I can share it and pass it in a simpler way.
Yes, on sharing it, do you have like clients? Do you have a pool for clients? Can people come learn at the feet of Mishkah Gool?
They can. I do workshops even now and then. And now that I'm shifting out away from a little bit of a very demanding, work schedule, I am definitely, and I have started already, seeing more clients. So people who would see me they just happen to be mostly women, but it's not limited. And I would love to actually open the space for more men and for them to know that this is also a sphere that they can be held in. And basically it's people that are feeling maybe stuck in their careers. Maybe you're feeling stuck in some form of stagnancy inside of yourself. Sometimes they can't get past a certain experience. It's any kind of means of like going into a space where you are meant to be. Let's say you're meant to actualize a certain part of yourself, or you're just feeling like a little bit stuck or unhappy, and then I'm like that buddy that comes and the tools, they're really strong, powerful tools. They're just trying to help you navigate through this path. And if you have to think of like, I always tell my clients, like, life doesn't stop giving you this wobble. But what these tools help you with is they just certain things to help recalibrate, help realign yourself once more. And then that for me aligns to this Sirata Mustaqim. Because what is the most aligned? Life does this, and if you can find a way where you're just swaying a little bit less, you can't stop the sway, but you can help yourself navigate how to balance these ways. How do you communicate really tough things to say? How do you
stop the sway?
If you have a limiting belief that creeps in. Sorry. Anyways.
No, I agree. And I think, and not to cut the swaying off, but I think it's important that. And
you're giving out free information. Continue, Jeff.
Yeah. I think it's important that, or the one thing that you said that shouldn't be missed is getting the language. A lot of the times we don't know the words, or we can't find the words to describe where we want to be, what it looks like, what is the thing that I'm talking about? Like even I want to tell you something, but I don't know what I'm saying. And that. So sometimes getting the language is literally the first step. Getting the language of what you want to do, verbalizing it in a way that makes sense, gives you that pointed arrow. It says, hey, I'm going in this direction, and this is where I want to be. And that's why I think a space like this is important, because there might be someone out there that doesn't have the language yet.
And to not feel alienated. And a lot of the time when we're in these spaces, we feel like, I'm the only one experiencing it. Yes, you're the only one with your set of circumstances. But, we can all hold, and I guess, look, we're 8.8 billion receding amount of people in the world. Yet there's only a bucket of core beliefs that we actually are being held back by. I am not worthy enough. I am not lovable. I am not amount to anything. There's so few that comes together, and yet the circumstances are 8.8 billion different circumstances. And that's why a lot of the time when we have these workshops, I do a lot of retreats and stuff, and in these safe spaces, like it will be something like this. And the profound thing for me is that when I get the feedback, what was your golden nugget? I love asking, like, what are the moments that made you move, shift something inside of you? And guess what? It will always be, at least on everyone at least will come up with, or every workshop, that it's, it was the space where they got to share. That was it. It was like you having your chance and to be heard, to be seen, to know that it's okay. So let's say you say something that you've experienced, and this is something that happened to me as a kid. By virtue of you saying that, it gives permission to you that you are okay, you're not isolated in it, you're not alienated, because again, that core beliefs are very few someone, and it's the space of being vulnerable. And I think,
agree.
I mean, for me, and I don't think it's been easy, and I know there's, it's just the other day I was at I teach yoga.
Ma'am.
Ma'am, what? Are you feeling called out? He's feeling called.
So you're gonna cook now with your words, and I do need us to get into the bowl of secrets.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So because I sort of put you on a path of self-exploration there, and I appreciate it. When we sort of wrap it up, I do want you to plug so where people can find you and people can hear more, because I definitely want to hear more. We want to have some fun from the bowl. It's a different bowl today. It's a wooden bowl. So the first game that we're going to play is sort of inspired by the concept of forced removals.
I knew you want to go controversial.
Gentrification.
I feel like you always have fun in the controversials.
Oh yeah.
Life,
No,
and
like,
I appreciate it.
some of us heal once as we make fun of things,
I
as we sort of disarm it,
Yeah.
we're able to sort of have fun. So the
mechanisms.
the principle of the game is this a District 6 or is this a District 9?
Okay.
So for those that have not watched District 9,
Yeah.
what's the difference between District 6 and District 9?
I explain this. Okay, so it's actually low-key the same thing. Like it's actually low, but just the principle that we're trying to say is that the one is like uppity, or there was work to make it more uppity, because obviously poor people stayed in District 6. Like my mom did it. They were like 8 in a room or 8 in a house or whatever the case may be. And District 9 is exactly the same. It's a squatter, it's a group of squatters and stuff like that. It's just District 6 becomes a landmark of like original OG gentrification, where all the houses are now super expensive, everything is now upmarket, everything is there. So that's kind of the principle of the game. It's like, is this thing...
And District 9 would be what?
It's like a squatter camp. Like it's...
So like scary. So I would say like I would lean towards District 6 gives you that warm feeling or like nostalgia feeling.
Yeah.
Whereas District 9 is obviously
So the one is
horror
cultured,
movie.
the one is uncultured.
Yes.
Levels!
Yeah.
So the thing we're going to bring up is miscellaneous.
Yes. But whether you must say in which bracket it would for you.
Yeah.
For you. Graffiti. Does it give you District 6 or District 9?
Is it cultured or uncultured? Yeah. Aside.
Well, because graffiti stemmed from creating political statements, art making a statement, right? It was words that were written on a wall. It was either gang names or, but then what were the gangs standing for? They were an uprising, let's say. So I would definitely say, and obviously graffiti over time has evolved to art forms. It's not just, but if we go in keeping it what it is, right? Graffiti. District 9.
So it's funny because the way you described it
Was
is
District
District
6.
6. Like the fact that you said that it graduated to art.
Oh, so we're talking based on the political.
So
is
especially
it
it
more
became
of a
no.
greatness
You said
or
what
if
you
it's...
said.
No.
You said what you said.
No,
Don't
for
hold back.
you.
You said
Study
what you
for
said.
you.
You said because I think it's District 6. I'm pretty sure my colleague over there.
Well, I'm saying the conditions of what you'd need to District 6 when it was happened.
Yeah.
My dad, that family's from it. It was a celebrated culture, the bioscope, and there was fun life, and no. So that for me, you wouldn't need to graffiti political statements in that way. Otherwise, it would be District 9. But if it is for like, hey, we're making...
It's where you took it.
Yes.
It's where you took
Yes.
it. I just want to say the thing. So I saw a post recently that said like, you know that whole thing about she's a 10?
She's a 10, but
Yeah, she's a 10, but
Okay.
right? So the latest one I saw was she's a 10, but she's always stealing your stuff. She's a 26.
That's good.
Hey, yo! Hey, yo.
What's the next one then?
Can we do one more?
Give it one more.
One more.
Okay.
This is the spirit of the game.
For the spirit of the game. I
Spirit of the
think
game.
that's the right one.
It has to be joy handwriting.
I can read it. E-hailing services.
Like Bolt and Uber.
Is it
Ikey, it was District 6, it's District 9 now, bro. It's so ghetto.
Why do you say that,
Love
Rizzan?
for that. Nah, because especially Uber, man. They have, what's it called? Uber what? Uber Go. Now we're like a city golf can pick you up. Love. And Taxify or Bolt whatever as is like, yo.
So just in terms of...
It's definitely District 9. I'll tell you why. Because, although, I mean...
Again,
people,
it used to be like la-di-da. It used to be uppity.
I don't even think the la-di-da. I think if we're looking at the essence of District 6 as well was community. People would rather gather together and you eat together and you come together where this... e-hailing?
E-hailing, yeah.
Whatever. You keeping yourself behind your closed door. There's no community. There's no connecting with other people. There's no like one auntie meeting up with all the friends and now they're cooking for everyone. And so it kind of sucks in that way because it's now like supporting also like...
To be honest, Mishka, I didn't expect the
Yeah,
in-depth
yeah.
analysis that you had on that game.
It's giving A
You
for
chose
English.
me though, so...
Yeah, however, I appreciate it.
Yeah. She got an A for paper too.
That's so funny.
So even though we aren't
Such a funny
we
way
aren't
to
in our
say you talk a lot.
studio, location unknown.
Hey?
No, it's like our studio, man.
Yes,
we
yes,
know where
yeah.
we are today, but normally where we normally record from. Nobody knows where we record from. I'll never forget. Is this someone's house, man? Whoa. We decided to bring our very notorious game here. So this is the game from the bowl. A series of hypothetical questions, and the game is called Say My Now.
Say my now, okay. Say my now.
Yeah!
There was that one chick from Madrisa that was like, yeah, say my now.
So,
Say my now, we do this. And throw
That, like you,
say my
like-
now, we throw the Alima's stuffies on the seal, on the roof, no? Then...
No, that was you.
No,
Be honest.
no.
That was very specific.
It was still in the say my
That
now.
was you. That was you. Don't lie.
She thought she was protected by the whale.
You already said that, like, you camped in detention. You were breakfast club. Saying my now, a genie gave you 3 wishes, haram. What did you wish for?
The other gene. Astaghfirullah. Like...
Come here, each get one wish.
Okay.
No, can I just have my 3 wishes, please?
Oh, okay.
Okay. We still don't know. We still don't know through the sluffies or not.
Nah, it's, you know what I mean? It's giving men taking things away from women. So you can have it
Who
through.
said
I
that?
apologize.
Who said that?
I
Who said that?
apologize.
No, I love men. I don't think that. 3 wishes. What's gonna be? It's giving off like it's gonna give off like it's giving Miss World vibes. I was like, like world peace kind of vibe. Like, but I think okay, this is what I do wish for. I would wish that people had systems and government systems. Some people need to be governed, and if they could have governing bodies that really did support the potential of the human race, I would love to see the world then. Imagine each person was truly, truly empowered in their genius. That would be so just. It would be so interesting to see what we could invent and where we would go in terms of our true expansion. That's one of my wishes for sure. But I hope that within that wish, we can be peaceful and harmonious.
You can't
No, but you
multiply
can,
one
you
wish.
can because it's specific details.
The
No one said
bylaws,
you must.
Bylaws.
Subtext. Redefine for
Good
it.
gene, no? This is a good
A
genie.
good gene.
Good gene. There's now
The gene went to Harvard.
It's the same now. It's not a real thing, okay? And remind you of the rules of your game. Astaghfirullah.
It's the most
Okay,
insane man. Yeah.
Another one would be
Sound of Music.
I feel that this is me. This helps me think. If I feel the vinyl. Yeah, okay, should maybe just sit on that one. That's a nice one. I like that one. Okay, another wish I'd make could be for more wishes.
No.
I'm telling you.
I know.
Disruption.
No.
But that wish would immediately like eliminate the rest.
Yeah.
So she lost
yeah.
both.
The fact that you had intention for that wish. Nah,
it's
you-
all gone.
sorry,
Rizaan?
that was the only wrong answer.
You wanted me to choose a wish for my ego.
I mean,
Like
it's
what?
your wishes. You
It's your
wanted
wishes,
three.
it doesn't matter.
You wanted three.
Rizaan, if you were given the opportunity, what would you wish for?
Yeah.
Good question.
Cool. So I had like a lot of wishes now.
Yes.
But I thought like I wish that it was okay to listen to R. Kelly's music. Like I just. I just wish that I didn't have to feel guilty about it, man. And also Michael Jackson's music. And also
like
Mason Greenwood did
listening
football. That's my
to
three wishes.
Michael Jackson. I like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson always puts me in the
Like I wish these
Yes.
figures
Yeah.
didn't do what they did, man. Like
I wish
that
you
they-
didn't care about what other people thought about what music you listen to. I think that would be a second wish for me. And then you could actually always listen to R. Kelly.
Nah,
you
I
know.
can't.
No,
It's
can't.
haram. That's
I
haram.
did.
That's haram.
That's haram.
Make tawbah.
Yeah.
Like music, Muslim people are like music. All music is haram.
All
Hi, R. Kelly, haram.
Like R. Kelly.
For me,
Yeah,
for
what's
me,
your wish?
I would just like to wish that that I'd have the opportunity to find a decent wish to choose from. However, I think my one wish would be that that you are able to grow up to be what you want to be. Regardless of any circumstance
I have
and
one.
closed ideas. I think that would be my wish.
I have one,
and
actually.
and then obviously allow it to happen.
I have one actually.
What you
Equal
I wish I could
opportunity
grow like
for
a
all.
better beard. Can you just take us
I
home?
also wish you could grow a better beard. I'm joking. That was the last of it. It's the last of it.
Same now.
Say right now, just take us home.
You could start this year over again. What would you do differently?
Oh, this is going to become real adult stuff.
Yo, I would make sure that this year slows down because I was at August, bro. That's one thing. I'm like, just like find a way to slow down. Just find a way.
This is not the wish time now. This is now you
What did I do differently? Slow down.
slow down.
Yes, like it.
Slow down.
Please. It's August. Well, whenever this comes out, it's late in the year.
Mm.
Are you nuts? I literally felt like the year started yesterday. What did we achieve, bro? What did we achieve?
This
That's
is
why
true.
this is your intervention. You've been asleep, my friend. And it does feel like yesterday because you've been asleep and you woke up 2 days ago and now yeah. I'm joking.
What did you guys do differently this year started over?
What would you do?
What would I do differently? Wow. I would actually not commit to as many things. I think as when I was very
JP's retiring.
I was
JP's
super
leaving the podcast.
I was a bit overly ambitious at the start of this year.
Overzealous,
And then so I think for me especially when because obviously Malika was pre this year, I think it was important for me to then now assess, and I think I wouldn't have committed to too many things. I think that's probably where I'm at. So yeah, my notice.
I'd be like,
I guess mine is very
exact same thing.
business related, which I don't really want to go into then, you know.
Do it,
like-
JP would have done it so you.
Yeah,
JP
yeah,
gets
yeah.
to love vicariously through you.
It's, you know what I think it is? I wouldn't, it's something I had to learn in the industry, and it was me balancing the kind of, I'm going to go there, like a masculine, feminine approach to how I run my business. And I'm still been navigating that balance of like the boundaries and the accountability, responsibility of business, which kind of falls into the more masculine, but then also dealing with people and knowing that I'm not employing machines and these are humans. And to remind myself, I wish I had actualized that it's not my responsibility to help someone in the whole world again. And it was a good reminder for me that and I guess that was come back to that question where I really do believe that you can only help someone who is willing to sign in to be helped or to do the change. And I also have realized I love working with people that are really passionate if they're going to be doing something, and it just translates so much greater, especially when it comes to co-creating and working in a team and something like that. And I think that would be, but there's no regrets because you can't be where you are now. Without those lessons, are like, would I change anything?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'd invest in
Bitcoin.
Did Bitcoin do well this year, though?
Sorry, no. Sorry. I realize I'm doing this actually out loud in my head. Like, actually doing this. So we are ready to wrap up. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. I'm fine. I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay. And so we normally allow the guest to do two things, right? And so first, JP is gonna do that thing that he does here. But before JP goes, you please give a message to your younger self. And you could speak to little Mishkah, especially now that you know so much. What did you tell her? And then also, please plug where people can find you, like social media, any events, any pages, whatever the case may be, because you are a very, very multi-talented, multi-involved individual. And so, people need to find you.
And thank you for that as well. That's kind. A message to my younger self. I would tell my younger self that, how young? Well, what age? Because life, ne? So just tell me, like,
Whatever
when
age you have in mind.
Yeah.
It's a 10.
Okay, 10. 10 is like, really entering into things. 10 was what, grade 3, grade 4?
5, 4.
5, yeah. I would definitely remind her that she is so intelligent and smart, and that we are all so different, and that we don't need to compare ourselves to anybody else, because we'll be missing the chance to experience this really unique composition of a being, like each person. And from a young self, I saw a lot of cool things in other people, and to know that we all own that, and for her just to focus on who she is, and to maybe look into different just ways of, like, maybe I'd give myself different coping mechanisms from a young age, not in a bad way, but just ways to so that you almost like put the soil in a better way. So if you are watering the seed, it's so much greater than what it could.
Sorry to interrupt. It sounds like you want to give your younger self like a Bible of information.
No, I'd actually just reassure her that she's got it. She got the goods, and to always be kind, and to always be a nice person, and maybe I would look. If I knew the circumstances, I could avoid some of the more rougher parts, but you can't actually stop that in any form of life. So if it's a message to my younger self or all the other younger selves out there, it's that, that just to take moments of really attuning to self. So cutting away, and really, it's the one thing that you could do every day, and I'd take on that practice from a young child, was developing a relationship with myself. And as much as I was so curious about other people, to start that curiosity with me, and to nurture that, and to know that it's okay to be however you are, and to have your interests, as long as you are not hurting other people or other things. If you go to a space, leave it in a better or the same or better, and to do that for yourself. To find one thing every day where you can find the evidence of how grateful you can be, or something in everyone's life. There's always going to be some kind of ease in everyone's situation, because I spoke to a guy outside the road the other day, and I told him, like, me, adult Mish, and he was like, yeah, but I told him, I'm so sorry, I'm so busy. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't have any responsibility, so I don't know how you feel. He literally told me that, and I was like, you bloody right. Like, he's just, he can chill. He got to chill in the sun. And so there's some ease where, it's all different for different people. And I tell that to my younger self that, find how you can feel good. And it's okay to be who you are.
Cool. No, great. I think that's amazing. And I think, again, from our side,
It's my TED Talk.
thank you for allowing us into your TED Talk. And thank you again for being us and inviting us into the space. We
Yes,
really appreciate it.
welcome.
And I really hope you enjoyed the different setting and the new space that we are in.
And the plug,
If you
the plug, quickly,
Yes,
before
yes,
I
yes,
did
yes,
forget,
yes,
and
yes,
that's a nice one. You can find, if you want to follow some of the projects that we get involved in, or if you want to just kind of see all these different community activations, then you can check out Love Cosmos, Love LOVE, Cos KOS, MOS, Love Cosmos. For me, on a more personal, under the coaching, under facilitating, mentoring, and whatever, then it's you can check out, you can just type Mishkah Gool. I'm sure my details will come up. Google me.
we'll have
But Mish
all the
Bohemia,
all the
they'll tag. And
all the links in the description.
yeah, they can add my email if people are looking for coaching and to find
Cool.
some support and whatever.
And if you like this content, please do like, share, subscribe, and rate us on the podcast platform. Don't forget to comment. And we out. Peace.